This example uses a sample project that can be opened in EVS demo or licensed versions. I will show you where to find it later. I have made a 𝐒𝐞𝐞 web scene viewer file from an example project called Coastal Facility Video.ctws. It's in the example projects, and just going to go over some of the functionality associated with making a 𝐒𝐞𝐞 web scene viewer file associated with that. Some of the basic functionality of using this viewer is if you want to rotate, you just hold your left mouse button down, move it around. If you want to pan back and forth or up and down, you just hold down your right mouse button and do that. If you want to zoom, you roll your mouse wheel forward to zoom in and roll your mouse wheel backward to zoom out. So that is some of the basic functionality, very easy. Now you'll see that there's these 4 different tabs up at the top here. We're starting off with the full width viewer here pressed on, and you can always return to that. If you look at this button to the right of that, the view scene properties, we notice that there is a compass, azimuth, inclination, and scale, and these can be either adjusted here in these windows, or you'll notice as you interactively change here, just with your mouse, you can see things changing, azimuth, inclination, and scale. Now, there are also preset views here. This one takes you to the original view. This one takes you to a plan view. This one fits the model to the screen, so if you've been zooming in and out, you can always get that to get to the size where it's on the screen. These presets take you from the southeast, then this one is from the southwest, this one from the northeast, and this one from the northwest. You can save an image here by clicking and then just assigning your path and file name. The Z-scale is a very easy and nice interactivity here. You can either type in if you want to change your Z-scale, expanding it, or if you want to go down to 1, for example, no vertical exaggeration. Or you can also use the arrows on the ends just to hold those down and see how that's dynamically changing. So a very nice feature. The bookmarks here are things that you can program in at the beginning that will take you either to certain views that you have in mind, for example, or turn things off and off. This one, the EVS logo, kind of zooms in there. Your plume zooms into a different view from east, from the south. Now these bookmarks have all been programmed in when making the original application. So what they are in effect is you can create sort of a PowerPoint slideshow out of this where you have the items you want turned off and on. For visible sequences, I've programmed in these plume shells here. And what we can actually do is just go progressively. The shells, there's everything above 10, everything above 20, above 50, and so on and so forth. And you can see that this title here is changing interactively, and the plume itself is changing. Notice how I have this what's called favorited in making the application. So this shows up here in the bar. So let's say, for example, if you had the model tree up, you would still be able to click through that sequence at any time. Be able to move that back and forth. Now, what the model tree does, you can adjust the opacity of objects. For example, you can toggle off and on the individual items here. For example, the VOC borings and data, I'm turning off. If I want to turn off the sequence of the plume shells, I can do it there. I can also turn off the plume. For the sand and bedrock here, what we've done is we've texture mapped these images onto the geologic layers. So it's an option in EVS. Instead of just having the colors, you can actually apply an image and put it on top of your lithology there. For the ocean, that's a distinct layer that we've got in there. The aerial photograph, I'm just showing you how you can turn these off and on. Now notice the buildings. They are 3D objects. and they're very easy to make in EVS. There's probably, I think, 17 different types of buildings that you can click on, and then you can stretch them out to whatever dimension you need to do, so you can match them to an aerial photo. There's also cylinders, so you can go ahead and make tanks if you want. So that's another really nice interactive feature, is being able to put buildings on it. Axes, of course, let's scroll out a little bit. We're able to turn the axes off and on. Our legends, we can turn that off and on. And the 𝐒𝐞𝐜 logo and text are in there, so we can turn those off and on as well. So just some measuring tools, which are also incredibly nice features to have. You can, let me go back and turn, for example, the aerial photo back on. Okay, so let's say you wanted to know the distance between a few different things on a site, for example. If you go to the current interactive tool here, the measuring tool enables you to measure distances between objects. So if I want to double click here, create a point, and then double click over here to this edge, and notice it draws a line, and it gives me that measurement. Since we're on the surface, a flat surface, your 3D and your 2D measurements are about the same. It gives you your slope and aspect, gives you your distance between them, and it gives you your coordinates for the beginning and ending point. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to figure out a distance on a slope here, let's go ahead and clear that. We can go ahead and click here and make our second point down here. So let's say across the site, you want to see how that angle is going to go at that dip. So we can see here that we've got the 3D. Did it pick that up? Yeah, it does pick it up. It picked that up right. The vertical, it's got the slope aspect of it. It's got the 3D and 2D distances that you would get from that, and gives you your beginning and your ending coordinates. So there's a lot of great functionality built into this web scene viewer tool. If you want to see the scene information, anything about it, for questions on how to use help and shortcuts with the bookmark navigation or any of the shortcuts, they're all there. Here is where you find and open that sample project. Open EVS, go to Sample Projects, go to the Analytic and Stratigraphic Modeling folder, and there's quite a few examples in here which use that application, but the one that we used here is the Coastal Facility Video.evs. So I modified it slightly, but that's the one that you can open up to look at. And when you go ahead and click open, you will see that open up. Here is the view of the plume, the site, the ocean, the cutaway, and here is the network. So you can go ahead and play with anything on the pegboard and click on the modules, and for example, gridding and horizons, and that information will pop up over here. So the best way to learn EVS, as always, is to just go through, play with all the parameters, and see how they work. Thank you very much.